Step 1. Unmounting and backing out the Acme screw. So if you come to an empty tube, the first step is to unplug the data cable and power cable, and then unclasp the tube from the arm. It's best to support the tube from the bottom while you're unclasping it. Once you have the tube assembly off of the arm, bring it over to the black workstation. The first step is to loosen the two nuts on the end of the anti-rotator. These should be only lightly tight. Once these are removed, place them in the magnetic bowl you can see in the bottom of the image here. Then remove the aluminum tube exposing the Acme screw. Take note that these screws are slightly longer than the other ones that are used to hold the polycarbonate tube in. We'll also be using the drill with the back out driver. See here, we want to back out the Acme screw almost all the way out of the polycarbonate tube. Be sure to run the drill at a slow speed. Take note in this image, it's about an inch still in before we stop. This is where we also apply the lithium grease. We want to make sure that there's lithium grease on the top square nut as well as completely covering the threads. We should also put some in the square aluminum tube, which we call the anti-rotator. Once everything's greased, we want to slide the aluminum tube back over the anti-rotator nut and Acme screw. And this will keep any kind of dust or clay from falling on that Acme screw, which we want to keep out of the gearbox. You can put the two Allen screws back to hold the tube in place, but only tighten them a little bit. The next step is to remove all of the Allen screws on the left-hand side of the image here, so that we can take the Acme screw, anti-rotator, and stepper motor off the polycarbonate tube. Once that's done, we can remove the Allen screws on the right-hand side of the image. Be sure to keep all of these Allen screws in the magnetic tray so that you don't lose them. It's also important to note that none of these should be very tight. They only act as pins. After that, we often need to use something to push out any leftover clay and the plunger and the extruder nozzle tube. And there are a couple of different cardboard cylinders that we can use that'll fit inside the polycarbonate tubes that we can use to push down. Be careful when you do this as the extruder tip may pop out and that nozzle can actually break, so just pay attention.